In doing a first aid needs assessment, it's important to find out why you need and what first aid kits you need. Now, having a first aid kit means your first aiders or anybody in the business can literally go to a set point, pick up the kits, and inside that kit, they'll be able to deal with most injuries that have happened to somebody, depending what they are. So part of your needs assessment is going to be looking at what kits to have. Now, when you're looking at the assessment of the kits to have, then there are different sort of types of kits you can have. So the first ones are the more basic kit, which is they call the HSE kits. And we're going to look at that in a separate video. Then you've got more specialized kits, for example, the catering kits, which are typically blue. And again, we'll look at that in a separate film as well. And then we've got the BSI type kits, which is what we've got here as an option to have a look more of those. We're also going to look in other films, the actual contents and the basic overview of them. But from a needs point of view, you need to really look at what risks you have. So have a look back on previous accidents you've had in the business, and what quality of training that people have had, maybe some accidents that are quite common. For example, it may well be that people are always cutting their fingers and just wanting a plaster. So maybe part of your needs assessment will be have a plaster station where they can literally just pull out a plaster. Because if you open one of these kits up, someone's just cut themselves, wants a plaster, they open the kit up, potentially they could drip blood inside the kit. So the important thing there is have kits elsewhere that they can just pull a plaster off, and that's all they need. If someone did put blood inside there, then you have to throw the whole kit away because it's now contaminated. So have a look at what you need, where you need to position your first aid kits. So typically they'll be maybe in a reception area as one option, or on each floor you'd have first aid kits. In a factory you might have them in different locations. You may have extra kits or different kits on a high risk area. So there's also trauma kits, so life-threatening bleed kits. Is a very, very good idea for all businesses to have those. Typically these kits will deal with most standard injuries, but if you've got someone with a very serious bleed, then you're going to need to have other products. And these extra products will be things like trauma dressings, hemostatic dressings, tourniquets, things to deal with some really nasty life-threatening bleeds. So with the kits themselves, there's different sizes. So in this film, we're going to be looking at the BSI kits. So they come in 3 sizes, in small, medium and large. And then there is a 4th kit, which is a travel kit. And this is one that you would put into vehicles. So these would go into a kit for a car so that everybody traveling has got that kit. Now, other specialist areas, you may have different kits. For example, if they're driving coaches, you might have a kit specially designed for coaches because, yes, you've got the driver might be the only employee. However, you've potentially got 40, 50 other people there you may need a kit for. So within these kits, there's different shapes and sizes of them. These are just some of the kits that we sell. You can have different designs. I mean, a typical one would always have something like this just to clearly signify what it is. Others have slightly different design labels on. Catering ones would always be in a blue. So if you're looking at anything for a catering, have a blue. And this one is the kit that we make up, and this is one that we can have bespoke labels on. So it's just a different design. So if you do want kits, maybe your company name, details like that, we can do those sort of kits for you as well. One bespoke feature on kits, which is a good idea to have, is a QR code. If that refers back to maybe the policies of your company, or where kits are, or we also do these kits with a QR code where it can link through to basic videos on how to do first aid, for example. So we're trying to encourage people just to scan the code, and then they can watch some videos as well on the front of the from this QR code on the front of the kit. As far as actually placing these kits, they all have different ways. They usually always come with some kind of wall bracket. This one here is this yellow bracket at the top that fixes on, so it's nice and simple. These other ones have a more of a basic hook type bracket that holds them in place. And others might be a first aid box on the wall with a soft type bag that comes out. So there's lots of different options for them, but you do need to make sure that whichever kit you decide to go for, then you are meeting the minimum requirements for what you need at least, but then also look at the what if type factors. So if you look at the basic guidance and first aid regulations, it talks about minimum requirements being what they classify as the HSE first aid kits, but I recommend everyone to upgrade that to the BSI kits and then potentially also have some kind of trauma kit as well.